In 2025 and 2026, the world is set to experience a once-in-a-lifetime transformation as Neptune and Saturn shift into Aries, sparking an intense new chapter in human history. This shift marks the end of a period defined by nebulous emotions, misplaced empathy, and lack of boundaries, and the bold beginning of a new period driven by the assertive, pioneering energy of Aries. The cosmic forces of Neptune and Saturn entering Aries won't just stir individual transformation. They'll ignite societal revolutions, challenge existing boundaries, and demand a return to truth and authenticity like never before. It all begins on March 30th, 2025, when Neptune steps into Aries for the first time in over a century, followed closely by Saturn's entry on May 24th. This is not just another astrological transit. It's a reality changer that will leave a permanent mark on our collective consciousness. But it doesn't stop there. Neptune retrogrades in July and Saturn follows suit in mid-July, and the two planets form their first exact conjunction at the end of the month, signaling the beginning of a cosmic shift. In January 2026, Neptune returns fully to Aries, and Saturn follows in February. When these two planets align in Aries, it will herald the dawn of a new era, one that will reshape everything from our personal identities to the very fabric of society. The last time Neptune entered Aries was in 1862, a year defined by the American Civil War, and the energy of rebirth and transformation that Aries embodies was palpable. We are at the threshold of another era-defining moment. And this conjunction, occurring at the 0-degree point of Aries, the vernal equinox, the starting point of the zodiac, is as rare as it is significant. This is not just a shift in astrology. This is a call for powerful new beginnings, a rebirth, a renaissance for the soul of humanity. Astrologically speaking, the synodic period between Neptune and Saturn spans 36 years. The last time they met was in 1989, when they conjoined in Capricorn, making this conjunction a pivotal moment for millennials born with that natal pattern. For the last 14 years, Neptune's time in Pisces has encouraged spiritual growth for some, but for others, it's led to a loss of self, as many got swept up in the mainstream trends and collective illusions. The Piscean blurring of boundaries left people floating in a sea of confusion. But Aries brings a sharp, fiery clarity, while Pisces is emotional, adaptable, and complex. Aries is direct, bold, and determined, where Pisces is mutable, indecisive, and passive. Aries is cardinal, a true initiator ready to forge a new path. Pisces represents self-denial and withdrawal, while Aries represents the purest form of self-expression, the will to act, and the courage to step into new territories. The shift from Pisces to Aries represents not only a personal awakening, but a cosmic battle between illusion and action. It's a clash between the dreamers and the doers, between those seeking escape and those forging a new reality. But this shift won't just be about the energy of Aries, it's about finding balance. As the active and individual energy of Aries is emphasized, Libra, the sign of justice, fairness, and balance, will also be activated. This will be a time of profound self-discovery, where you must navigate the balance between individual autonomy and collective responsibility. Saturn, the planet of structure, discipline, and responsibility, represents a serious and grounded approach to life. Saturn is exalted in Libra. It's the force of justice, ensuring that actions are measured and fair. Neptune, on the other hand, is the dreamer, the visionary, and the idealist, the planet of illusions, spirituality, and emotional depths. When these two planets collide, it's a cosmic push and pull between the need for practical, grounded solutions and the desire for transcendence and escape. With Neptune at the final degree of Pisces and Saturn currently testing its foundations, we've already begun to see the beginnings of this shift. The signs are clear, the old ways are falling away, and the world is about to change. Neptune and Saturn's entrance into Aries is a cosmic reset button, calling us to step into a new era, one where we must redefine our boundaries, reclaim our power, and find new ways to live authentically. As we move toward this transformative moment, get ready for a massive shift in how we approach the world, ourselves, and each other. The future is fiery, bold, and full of potential. And it's up to you to decide how you will navigate this powerful new age. With the slower transits of Saturn and Neptune emphasizing Aries, a sign known for its directness and independence, the end of pandering to the hypersensitive and mentally fragile is approaching. Aries, the ram, charges forward with no regard for gentle nudges. The brashness of Aries will push society towards facing reality head-on, diminishing the era of gaslighting and projection that Neptune in Pisces amplified. This ingress will bring a collective awakening from the woke mind virus. The era of tiptoeing around feelings and the culture of victimhood will see a drastic change. Aries demands reality over fantasy, pushing for personal accountability and resilience rather than coddling. This coincides with a reassertion of national and personal boundaries. The ongoing border crisis in Western nations will escalate, leading to more decisive measures, possibly involving martial force, reflecting Aries' association with war and action. Expect a robust response to issues like illegal immigration and cultural assimilation. Aries is about self-preservation, and this could manifest as nations taking back control of their borders, perhaps with force, aligning with Aries' martial energy. This shift will encourage a reevaluation of what it means to have a cultural and national identity. Exerting force to secure borders to reassert individual identities that have been under attack in recent years will take time, but is already unfolding. Neptune's last transit into Aries coincided with the First American Civil War, a time of deep societal divides and political unrest. Today's tensions mirror this, fueled by Neptune in Pisces, which dissolves boundaries and fosters confusion. Unlike the violent past, this era may see peaceful fragmentation, with movements advocating for new state boundaries in places like Oregon, Illinois, and California, reflecting a Civil War II scenario fought through ideological realignment rather than armed conflict. Secessionist movements, such as Greater Idaho and multiple proposals for California, highlight growing ideological divides between urban and rural populations. As Neptune's Piscean influence fades, expect more regions to push for independence, driven by disillusionment with federal representation. Pisces' dual nature was an instigator of today's polarization, where fact and fiction blur, fueled by extreme voices in the media. Neptune's transition to Aries will bring clarity and action, emphasizing individual autonomy and self-determination. Aries' assertive energy will be challenged by Libra's call for balance. Saturn, traditionally exalted in Aries' opposite sign Libra, will be a significant player in this dynamic, bringing structure and discipline to the conversations around balance and unity, urging structure and unity amid this shift focusing on individuals. Moving forward, conservative values of stability and self-preservation offer an anchor, countering the fluidity of liberal ideologies. This conservative resurgence contrasts the collective focus that began when Neptune entered interpersonal signs in the 1940s, emphasizing social justice and group rights. The upcoming shift back to individual-oriented signs will spark a clash between personal sovereignty and collective needs, intensifying the ongoing cultural battle between individualism and collectivism. In this turbulent landscape, finding inner balance will be crucial, as the path forward demands both personal stability and the ability to engage with broader societal dynamics without succumbing to extremes. This period marks the end of a collective-focused era, prompting a reevaluation of societal values and potentially heralding a return to conservative, individualistic ideals. as people seek to reclaim personal autonomy in response to governmental overreach and extreme social policies. Distrust in traditional media has surged, leading to a rise in independent outlets. This reflects a liberation from establishment control, driven by Aries' energy of self-reliance and truth-seeking. Independent media now challenges mainstream narratives, aiming to free public discourse from propaganda. Neptune's transit through Pisces from 2011 to 2025 blurred reality and illusion, fostering public skepticism towards government transparency. Edward Snowden, leaking information in 2013, contributed to a societal awakening regarding privacy rights. His actions sparked movements and discussions on surveillance reform, mirroring a broader societal introspection on values and freedoms. The repeal of the Smith-Mundt Act in 2012 further blurred lines, allowing domestic propaganda, contributing to widespread confusion and misinformation, aligning with Neptune's influence on perception and deception. Neo-Marxist movements like Black Lives Matter, founded in 2013, embody Neptune's influence on idealism and collective consciousness. This era saw a focus on social justice, amplified by media narratives, stirring civil unrest and reflecting the period's spiritual and societal shifts, amplified by social manipulation. There was a notable increase in discussions around alleged issues like racism and white supremacy to exacerbate civil unrest. This period saw a shift towards addressing these allegations, reflecting a collective movement seemingly of mysterious origins, with elusive and intangible desires. Just as the repeal of the Smith-Mundt Act dissolved barriers between domestic and foreign information, Snowden's leaks broke down the barrier between classified government activities and public knowledge. His actions highlighted the tension between national security, personal freedoms, lies, and manipulation, resulting in societal introspection. Snowden's decision to leak information shattered illusions of privacy, revealing government overreach and sparking global debates on civil liberties. As Neptune exits Pisces, society will pivot towards stricter justice systems, emphasizing accountability and personal responsibility. Aries' influence will focus on local issues and national integrity, likely reducing globalist agendas in favor of domestic development. The aftermath of the 2024 election ushered in a wave of disillusionment and a collective pushback against manipulation, prioritizing mental resilience over fragility. As Neptune's illusions in Pisces lift, society will be forced to reconcile the delusions of the past decade, especially for those who undermined democracy in the name of saving it. The sentiment that everything is a lie resonates deeply with many, fueling a growing desire for authenticity and truth in all aspects of life. Neptune in Pisces has fueled the left's utopian vision of equity and justice, often at the expense of practical realities. Emotional narratives in media, education, and art shaped public opinion, framing issues like climate change and systemic racism as existential crises. Many fell victim to this subversive manipulation. This idealism fostered binary narratives of oppressor versus oppressed, oversimplifying complex issues. Blind trust in institutions left many vulnerable to deception, while cultural relativism and identity politics fragmented societal cohesion by prioritizing group identity over individual merit. Social pressure to sever family ties over political differences further deepened reliance on collective validation rather than personal self-awareness. As Neptune transitions into Aries, idealism will be met with a demand for accountability and individual action. Emotional manipulation will give way to realism, challenging narratives that rely on victimhood. Gone are the days of special treatment based on identity alone. Truth, personal responsibility, and self-determination will take center stage in the shifting societal landscape. Compassion is considered a virtue to many, but under Neptune's influence in Pisces, it has sometimes been misapplied, leading to unintended societal consequences. Calls for open borders under the guise of compassion sparked debates over national security, resource strain, and cultural integration. Neptune's idealism envisions a borderless world of unity, but overlooks practical realities, risking instability and disorder. Similarly, leniency toward criminals, such as reduced sentencing or decriminalization, reflects Neptune's emphasis on empathy, but sometimes comes at the expense of public safety. While rehabilitation is important, Neptune's idealism can blur moral lines, diminishing victims' rights and contributing to rising crime. The broader push for unconditional compassion, even for lawbreakers, challenges society's principles of justice and accountability. Under Neptune's influence, misplaced empathy can weaken the foundations of fairness and responsibility, fostering lawlessness and eroding social order. As Neptune exits Pisces, the illusion of untouchable celebrity status is crumbling. Scandals involving figures like Diddy and Epstein mark the end of an era where fame shielded individuals from accountability. The public is shifting from collective idolization to a demand for authenticity and personal integrity. Under Neptune in Pisces, celebrity culture prioritized marketing over merit. Platforms like the Daily Wire attempted to craft media figures like Candace Owens and Brett Cooper. Often criticized as forced or overly political, the two were discarded when their authentic individuality challenged the company's agenda. Similarly, Disney has pushed ideological narratives over genuine storytelling, turning characters into tools for their own agenda. Social media has further blurred the lines between curated personas and real-life authenticity. As Neptune moves into Aries, audiences are rejecting inauthentic influencers and astro-turfed fame. Aries' bold, pioneering energy will elevate figures who display genuine talent and originality, forcing media outlets to adapt. The transition of Neptune and Saturn into Aries signals the rise of unapologetically real individuals, reshaping celebrity culture toward courage, innovation, and true cultural impact. Neptune's transit through Pisces has blurred boundaries, fostering ideological shifts that challenge Western identity. The woke movement redefined cultural and racial narratives, promoting guilt and victimhood while undermining traditional norms. Originally linked to spiritual awakening in 2012, the term woke was repurposed in 2015 by neo-Marxists to drive their political agenda. Under Neptune's idealistic influence, open border policies and mass migration have accelerated, aligning with globalist agendas. UN data shows rising migration to the West, while policies discouraging native birth rates and promoting immigration have fueled concerns over demographic shifts. Media, controlled by Neptune's influence, has amplified these changes through propaganda and social contagion, suppressing dissent while framing ideological shifts as inevitable. As Neptune enters Aries, ambiguity will give way to direct confrontation. Aries' assertive energy, reinforced by Saturn, will challenge globalist narratives, strengthen national identity, and demand accountability. This transition marks a shift from illusion to realism, prompting a reassessment of immigration, cultural identity, and societal values. Media and entertainment, under Neptune in Pisces, pushed woke beauty standards that prioritized ideology over authenticity, celebrating imperfection, while rejecting traditional aesthetics. This forced shift blurred the lines of identity, but many saw it as artificial and pandering, leading to widespread backlash. Tokenized representation, often marketed as diversity, failed to resonate with audiences, exposing the emptiness of synthetic inclusivity. brands that embraced this performative wokeness faced consumer rejection as audiences rejected being lectured to. Neptune's illusions encouraged this ideological push, but Saturn in Pisces delivered a harsh reality check. Idealism detached from authenticity doesn't sell. Beauty standards became so abstract that they alienated the very people they sought to appeal to. As Neptune and Saturn enter Aries, those clinging to these failed narratives are in for a rude awakening. Aries values raw, unapologetic authenticity, favoring strength, fitness, and individuality over imposed ideological quotas. The shift toward realism will see the decline of forced inclusivity in favor of genuine self-expression. The woke beauty agenda is crumbling. Aries will redefine representation, not as a political tool, but as a reflection of real diversity rooted in merit, uniqueness, and empowerment. The era of ideological aesthetics is ending, replaced by an unapologetic return to authenticity. Recent decades have prioritized gender disparities concerning women, often marginalizing men's issues and fostering a cultural narrative that has been hypercritical of masculinity. As Neptune and Saturn transition into Aries, a revival of masculinity is emerging, re-emphasizing qualities like bravery, leadership, and initiative while fostering balanced gender discourse. Neptune and Pisces blurred gender boundaries, often distorting masculinity and femininity. With Aries' shift, focus returns to individuality and self-reliance, allowing men to reclaim their identity without societal pressure. This change counteracts the demonization of masculine traits and promotes appreciation of men's contributions. While toxic masculinity has dominated gender discussions, toxic femininity, manipulation, victimhood, and emotional blackmail has also had harmful effects. Aries' direct, no-nonsense energy will challenge this dynamic, encouraging accountability and healthier expressions of femininity based on empowerment rather than passivity. The cultural shift will move away from victimhood narratives and emphasize self-determination for all genders. A growing backlash against one-sided gender narratives is paving the way for a more balanced approach. Aries values individualism and self-reliance, reinforcing that masculinity and femininity should not be idolized or demonized, but understood as complementary forces. This shift will encourage respect for traditional masculine virtues while celebrating femininity's strengths in nurturing and collaboration. As Saturn and Neptune settle in Aries, societal views on gender will transform, emphasizing authenticity over imposed ideals. Masculinity will be redefined in a way that coexists with feminine strengths, promoting growth, cooperation, and empowerment for all. This period marks a return to balance, where both masculine and feminine energies are valued and integrated into a healthier cultural dynamic. Neptune in Pisces has blurred reality and dissolved traditional boundaries, fostering confusion and fluidity. A key societal shift during this transit has been the rise of the transgender movement, which challenges gender as a fixed biological fact, instead framing it as fluid and self-determined, mirroring Neptune's dreamlike, subjective nature. Under Neptune's influence, gender has been redefined as an evolving spectrum detaching identity from biological realities. This shift has led to broader societal acceptance, but has also introduced a Neptunian sense of gaslighting, where objective truths are questioned and dissent is often met with accusations of intolerance. The transgender movement reflects Neptune's dissolution of form, where identity is self-created and constantly shifting. However, as Neptune prepares to leave Pisces, recent cultural and political shifts indicate growing resistance to these ideas, reinforcing the end of this trend and a return to more defined boundaries. Neptune in Pisces has intensified themes of escapism, dissolving boundaries, and altered consciousness, fueling a surge in substance abuse. Historically, Neptune's last Pisces transit coincided with the Opium Wars, reinforcing its link to drug epidemics. Today, this influence is evident in the opioid crisis, rising fentanyl and methamphetamine deaths, and the broader normalization of drug use under the guise of medical or recreational freedom. While legalization efforts reflect progressive attitudes, they also risk increasing dependency. Even figures like Elton John noted this societal harm recently, echoing concerns that Neptune's influence romanticizes drug use while masking its consequences. Overdose deaths have risen sharply, with fentanyl-related fatalities escalating dramatically since 2011. As Neptune moves into Aries, this era of escapism will give way to a reality check. Aries demands action, accountability, and direct confrontation of addiction's impact. Expect a cultural shift emphasizing personal responsibility, innovative recovery methods, and stricter regulations. Saturn's presence in Aries will reinforce structure and discipline, promoting prevention and rehabilitation over passive tolerance. This transition signals the end of the Neptunian haze, shifting societal attitudes from indulgence to a critical reassessment of substance use. A renewed focus on mental and physical health will replace the illusions of drug-fueled transcendence, fostering a movement toward sobriety, self-care, and empowerment. Neptune's transit through Pisces has coincided with a growing acceptance of assisted suicide, reflected in legislative changes and shifting cultural attitudes. Pisces, a sign of compassion and spiritual transcendence, aligns with the framing of euthanasia as an act of mercy or relief from suffering. Several jurisdictions, including Oregon, Washington, California, and Canada, where 1 in 20 deaths in 2023 were medically assisted, have legalized physician-assisted death, dissolving traditional taboos and reshaping the conversation around the right to die. Neptune's influence has also deepened debates on the soul, the afterlife, and suffering, reinforcing the view of death as a transition rather than an end. However, its association with escapism raises concerns that the rise in assisted suicide reflects societal fatigue with caregiving and a discomfort with confronting life's complexities. As Neptune moves into Aries, this era will be remembered as one that fundamentally redefined how society approaches mortality, compassion, and dignity in death. Neptune and Saturn shifting from Pisces to Aries marks a departure from illusion and a return to reality, emphasizing personal responsibility, national identity, and objective truth. Saturn in Aries will enforce discipline, challenging the societal inversions fostered under Neptune's influence and pushing for pragmatic, reality-based policies. Aries' direct energy demands that we confront uncomfortable truths, rebuild structures, and restore order without Neptune's illusions. This is a cosmic reality check, forcing us to reassert boundaries, personal, societal, and national, while embracing clarity and decisive action. These transits are just one part of a greater transformation, shaped by planetary cycles, eclipses, and retrogrades. The choices we make now will define the years ahead. A new era is beginning. Will you rise to the challenge or stay passive in the face of change? Stay informed and continue exploring the cosmic shifts that will shape our world. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe.